How's it going, guys? It's Poetry Stud, and welcome back to episode 2 of our Carthage campaign in Imperator, Rome, the new game coming out from Paradox in a couple weeks. Actually, about a week from when this video will be live. Yeah, on the 25th of April, this game will be launching, and it is, of course, a grand strategy game in the vein of EU4 and CK2, but focused on Roman times, starting in around 301 BC. So, we're going to go ahead and continue here where we last left off. We were about to go to war with Massaicilia. We are waiting for enough power to get a claim. It costs 180. So we're going to wait for that. And other than that, we're just going to kind of look around a bit and kind of see what we got going on. There is so much to talk about. Again, this is it's a whole new game with whole new mechanics, so it's not like an EU4 expansion where I can just cover like, oh, here's the stuff changing. No, it's a whole new experience. And certainly, there's a lot to go over there. But we'll do it bit by bit. So, let's look around us right now. So, Syracuse is being occupied by Acragus. These are different Greek cultures, powers, and then there's also a Latin power. Religious-wise, these are all Hellenic people. One thing that we obviously don't have control over in the rest of North Africa is the religion and cultural aspects. And this actually gives me a good chance to show something that we need to do. So there's this province right here, Iolia, in Numivia. The way the game is structured, we should keep going. I'm going on speed 3, though. So, one thing that's kind of interesting is the way this game is structured is, in terms of the political setup, the boundaries, is that there are provinces, regions, and cities. So what normally would be called a province in EU4, normally a province in EU4 is one of these little things that we're clicking on. But those are cities in this game because of the fact that this game has a much greater level of detail. So, like, we are being, Yep. See, this is what I meant, right? We're going to be making a lot more money from commerce long term. So, like, these are all little cities, and that's what these represent. The whole darker outline around it is the province, and that is the province of, like, Carthago in Africa. Africa is the region. So this is, like, another province, which is this thing. This is a city, the city of Thabraca. This is an example. Yeah, so Rukuma is the city in the province of Thabracania, this whole thing, in Africa, the region. And the region map mode shows us that Africa is all this. And that lines up with provinces. Control Y and U. So here's where you can see Africa is there, right? And then there's the provinces within it. And so the way you work on a lot of stuff in this game, the way you can really determine what's happening in your land is with your generals. So, for instance, the general of our home region is our head of state, right? But if we go to, like, here, up to Spain, to Iberia, this is the province of Bastitania in Baetica, right? Baetica is this whole southern chunk of Iberia. This guy is our governor. He is the governor of all provinces in Baetica. So you set a governor for a whole region. So, like, this is the governor of this region, which includes these. They're all different states, right? But he is the governor of all of them. And so with that, this governor, he administers these regions, and he will set the different things you can do there. So, for instance, where's a good example? So, let's look at this place. This is where I was going to go anyway. So, this governor, we can see, like, his traits and stuff, but every governor, at least normally, has access to the same policies. And so this is a policy that will apply to all of this province, not the whole region. For instance, we could set separate policies for this province versus this province, and they are separate right now. He is the one administering them, but you can have different things. So, for instance, this province is focused on acquisition of wealth, which is pretty good. This one is currently focused on bleed them dry, which I don't want to do that. Which you just focus on getting money out of people and in return for unrest. What we want to do here is this. Well, so if you go here, you can see, culture-wise, this is all Mesicilian. None of this is Carthaginian culture, and that is going to cause issues long-term, because right now their happiness from this is at 55% out of 100. And that's not good. We're getting minus 30% because they're not in our culture group. And that is a big penalty. So, what we need to do is this. We need to set... and it also, though, religion is megalithic. It's also not the right religion. However, the religion penalty is only minus 5%. The religion thing is not as significant right now. Really, the culture thing is a big problem, and that is what is going to cause rebellions if we don't deal with it now. If too many people are not from our culture group. So what we're going to do is, you can, there's a couple ways to fix this. First off, you can come in here and spend oratory power to assimilate, but it's 20 for each pop, and that is kind of expensive over time. Especially because we need this to fabricate claims. What we're going to do is we're going to set the policy to cultural assimilation. Every month, there's about a 1 in 5 chance that a pop converts to Carthaginian culture. So 2 or 3 a year on average, which is pretty good. And it could be anywhere in that state that we control. So that will slowly start to convert stuff there. We're going to do the same here. It does have... he's doing religious, but no, culture is more important. Because we need those points for other stuff, whereas the religious does not have as many uses. Same up here. This is... Oh, this stuff is Carthaginian, actually, so never mind. We don't need to do that here. Up here, the religion thing would be better, and it is on religious assimilation. There as well, it should be. This is the correct religion in those places. So yeah, so that works. There we go. So that is basically why we're doing that. Oh no, I forgot. It does cost oratory power to change those. So I actually also just delayed our stuff. So it still does cost power, obviously, but now we don't need to change it for a long time. So, in any case, that is unfortunate. I made it so we're going to have to wait a little longer to go to war. That's okay. And that gives us time to look at some other stuff. One thing I should definitely not be doing is we're suffering some attrition here. So we should deal with that. That's not good. Is the supply limit here strong enough or high enough? I forgot where to find that. I know it's here somewhere. Supply limit is not big enough there. What about here? It's not even big enough there. I'll actually go ahead and split it in half then. So, again, so this unfortunately will make us lose a bonus, so I'm not going to accept that trade-off for once. This one will gain us a bonus, so we'll do that. Okay. So, I think our short-term goal is to unify North Africa. I think our mid-term goal... Then, also, let's see. What do we want more right now? Like money or... Probably technology speed actually would be good. Okay. This is just one that affects local tax somewhere. That's fine, honestly. I don't really care. I think our short-term goals are unify Sardinia, unify Sicily, get rid of Massilia, and Mauritania. Those are our short-term goals. I think our mid-term goals are going to be start annexing the rest of North Africa that is not vassals. And then start expanding, before we expand into Italy. I'm not really going to worry about that as much right now because I think it's going to be more trouble than it's worth. I think we're first going to try to get a larger grip on Baetica. I think we're going to expand into this area here, right? Like all this area around here. And then push east from there. Get more of the coast of Hispania. Yeah, here's the diplomacy map mode. Population map mode, right? This is useful. One thing that's actually interesting is this province here in Sardinia is actually one of our most populous provinces. And I don't know, there's probably a real reason for that, like a historical basis, but that's actually our most populated place, even more than our capital. So, yeah, I mean, so, like, there's decent population all along the coast here, and in Sicily, and we want to get that under our control. Eventually, we might even try to, like, go east again, reclaim Phoenicia, but, for right now, that is not going to be a main goal. Phrygia is pretty strong at the start. Okay, let's go ahead and accept that. Oh, no, that was the one that got rid of the bonus, right? Sometimes I gotta slow down on that. So yeah, I'm not going to worry about Iberia yet. None of the powers here are going to be too centralized if we wait a little while. I think it should be fine. I think we're mostly going to focus on North Africa, and then Sicily, then Sardinia. Maybe those two switched. And then Iberia while we wait for Rome to open up stuff for us. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. The game is going a little slower than it was when I was playing on my own because I'm recording now, right? And so that makes sense. That's fine. There's still plenty of stuff to be looking at. These are super helpful, being able to see the religious distribution and culture distribution. So you can see the majority of our population is the correct religion, is the correct culture group and stuff. So that's nice. And actually, one thing that's kind of interesting, I talked about this in the first episode, but the Phoenicians were the ones who originally colonized Carthage. But you can still see Phoenician culture still exists along here in Iberia because that was colonized by Phoenicians, and then the Carthaginians took over those colonies, right? So they kind of had diverging paths before this point. So one thing I wanted to look at actually while we're waiting here for a couple more months is at these decisions. So, ooh, that's kind of cool. We can pay a lot to get mercenary patron, where maintenance goes down. That's nice. Ooh, definitely want to get a granary. We'll talk about that means later. So, a new Carthage. We lose 500 gold, and there's some other things too. Yeah, Contestania. So we have to own Contestania is oh, it highlights this for us. Wow, that's nice. Citizens abroad. Citizen in Uban. I have no idea what that is, so hold on. Uban. Why are there two? There's two provinces named Uban. This is actually something I've noticed. There are multiple provinces that have the same name in this game, which I think because of the fact they are so detailed in this game, like the fact that there's so many provinces, or not, sorry, not provinces, states, no, not states, cities in each province, is kind of ridiculous when you think about it compared to EU4 and CK2. Like, for instance, let's look at, they used an example in one of the Deb diaries of Sicily. Look at how many different cities there are in Sicily alone. There's like 20, right? In EU4, there's like 3 or 4. In CK2, there's like 7. Something like that. It's ridiculous, the level of detail they have, which is awesome, right? Like, Rome is not a coastal city because it literally, in real life it isn't. It's a little ways up from the coast. And in EU4 and CK2, Rome is coastal. It's not because it's that closely detailed. Like Tuscany, right, is so many things, whereas normally it's like a couple provinces in EU4 or CK2. And so with that, though, I think a lot of places have similar names, and thus there are duplicate names. Like Rukuma, right? Sulki. There's a couple others I've run into, and Uban is one apparently. So these are moving to Tabira. I have no idea where Tabira is, so let's find out where that is. The reason why I'm looking, normally I wouldn't care that much, but they're moving all the way down to here. Okay. The reason why is because now we can remember this, and when we conquer it again, it'll be fine. Okay, so, in any case, let's go ahead and look here. A couple more months till we can declare war. Yeah, that's right, so decisions. So, a new Carthage. When we own this stuff here, this chunk of southeastern Spain, then we can pay money, and that area, no, the city of Mastia. Oh, you know why? I get it. It's called a new Carthage because this is Cartagena in modern-day Spain. Cartagena, which means, I believe just means new Carthage, right? So Cartagena was like the capital of Carthaginian presence in Iberia, and it's on this peninsula right here in real life. So that makes sense. Mastia, this city, gets a lot of good stuff. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Hold on. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, I had to check something. So that's cool. And also, 8 pops, 8 citizens, 6 freemen, 4 slaves, which we haven't talked about those differences. We'll do that. And we gain claim on the Hispanian coastline, like the whole Hispanian coastline. That's if that literally means the whole coastline, that's ridiculous. That is amazing. Wow. Okay, we need to do that soon. Restructure military harbor of Carthage. Okay. So this is a pretty easy one. We just got to get 400 gold. And Carthage military harbor until end of game. Recruit speed, local import routes. Sorry, that's pretty good. I mean, yeah. Cool. Mercenary patron. Again, mercenaries are cheaper. The rest of these, I think, are generic ones that you can do as any country, really, depending on your government type. And it's changing government type. So, cool. I am learning a bit about Carthage's starting position, you know? So we definitely want to do that ASAP. And we probably would rather do that before Turdetania, which also is a great name, and Eberania. I kind of said those would be first before we push east, but it seems like Contestani and all those other ones should be targets beforehand. Sure, we'll become friends with someone. That seems good. Making money. And so you can see, like I said, there's no need to worry about what seems to be a rough financial situation at the start, because it very quickly turns around. And when I did my little test run of Carthage, I noticed that. I was like, wow, okay, you own a lot of land, right? And so all of these are trade goods. The trade good map mode is kind of intimidating at first. You're like, holy crap. But I mean, I don't think you'd really need to know. It's kind of like EU4 trade. I don't think you really need to know right off the bat. You can get by with that basic knowledge. So yeah, I mean, that's, but it's pretty cool. So meanwhile, we have all these little vassals here. Okay. My timer just went off. We're going to keep going a couple minutes longer, obviously. Again, another trade thing. We gain a bonus. I really like that you gain bonuses for trading away stuff. Like I think it's to represent, like, the more trade you have, the more innovative you are, the more different technologies you're exposed to, that sort of thing. I think it's really cool. So for instance, let's look at some of these guys. We can start integrating them. We need to get our opinions up. And to do that, we need to get our relations up. And it's similar to EU4. The difference is you have to spend some oratory power up front. But anyways, there's a lot that obviously we're going over. I haven't had a really chance to talk about even my long-term plans for this game, right? Like who I want to play in the future and all that sort of thing. It doesn't really matter what province we fabricate on. Probably just whatever has the most population would be important. Seems like probably this one. The province of Massicilia. That would make sense. Alright, let's do that. Okay, so we have a CB on them now. We have to wait for our diplomat to get back, and then we will declare on the Massicilians. They are not allied to anyone, so it shouldn't be too bad. Also, we do have all these vassals that will swarm to our aid. Massilia and Musulamia are tribal vassals, and as a result, they actually have a different relationship with us, and they will not be called into the war right away. This, with them too, because they are settled tribes and not republics and other stuff, monarchies, they are actually, they are basically just tributaries, like from CK2. They pay us money and give us manpower, but they don't actually have to help us, but we do have to defend them, so. So anyways, I think we're going to go ahead and do Army, morale, recovery speed, trireme discipline. It's not really necessary. We just have a huge navy right now. National crime. I think we'll do property tax. Yeah, more money is going to be very important. So, with that, we can go and declare war. So I'm sorry it took us this long. All of these guys are going to join by default. Unfortunately, we have to force it through the Senate, which I don't actually know why. There's no way to see on the screen as far as I can tell why they aren't supporting it. But honestly, 5 tyranny is not a huge deal. It only becomes a big deal when you get like up to 20 and stuff like that. So there is a couple different things up here. There's aggressive expansion, you know, which There's no coalitions in this game, but other countries will not like us if it goes above 50. And beyond that, wrong cultures are less happy, right? Tyranny is kind of the opposite, where your cultures get less happy the more tyranny you have. So, anyways, though, we are now at war, as you can see. We're going to go and siege down this fort right here. One thing I haven't talked about, I haven't really had a chance, the way forts work in this game, and some of these icons, right? Let's go and talk about those. So, first off, let's get our navy out there. One thing that's interesting to note is that, so there's these different icons you've probably been noticing. This icon right here means port. As far as I can tell, there's no way to build ports. It literally just, ports are naturally based on where there are natural ports in real life or whatever, or where there are natural harbors, right? I don't think any more will appear over the course of the game. I think they're just there, right? So that's interesting. Capitals are represented by this pillar. There are capitals in every province, right? And also with province capitals, I've pretty much found that you don't have any control over where it goes. It'll just switch based on, I think, historical reasons, right? So, for instance, right now our province capital for this province is this one province. No, it's one city. But I'm pretty sure it'll change once we get, like, maybe one of these based on historical reasons. I don't know. The good thing is it doesn't matter too much normally. That's that icon. The third icon, and probably the most important actually, oh, and then also I guess kind of similar, is this icon, which is a little pillar, but also with like little things around it. That's our capital of our country. The last thing is this fort icon. Forts work kind of like EU4. They exert zones of control. However, one thing that is really cool about this game, but also a little confusing coming from EU4, is that forts are offensive. Forts actually exert offensive zones of control, and you'll see what I mean in a second, because, actually you might not. I believe, at least if our vassal moves, you'll see this fort here, yes, okay, so here we go. This is a good example. So they have their level 1 fort here in Iol. And since I am occupying the enemy fort that would cancel it out normally, their fort is exerting a zone of control over enemy provinces. And that, to me, is amazing, coming from U4, where that doesn't happen. Forts actually flip enemy provinces to your control, and I love it so much. Of course, the opposite is true. It will flip your provinces to their control. But if you place your forts properly, you can get, like, free occupations, even on province capitals. And look at that. There you go. And that's pretty awesome, I think. I have no idea where their army is, by the way, but that's okay. Okay. So, one thing we should talk about while we're going here is, actually, let's wait and see if it happens naturally from this province. No, I'd like to look at the province. I guess I can't. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Let's hope that something happens here. We get a little bit of money from looting, right? But not a huge deal. We're gonna have siege ticks. The way the sieges work is pretty much just EU4, right? Like, you start at -28, -35%, and every tick there's a die rolled. It is affected by blockades, all that sort of thing. So yeah. Okay. So it didn't happen, but what I was hoping would happen is sometimes if you occupy provinces, you kind of like sack the city and you take one of the you take some of the population of the city as slaves, and they get sent to your capital of your whole country, right? They end up there. All the spoils of war end up there, and it's pretty interesting. Your population in your capital will grow just by conquering stuff, and that's pretty cool. There is natural population growth as well, and you can, like, it'll depend. I actually don't know all the factors. I've tried to figure it out, but someone will probably know once the game is out. I tried to figure out what determines which type of pop is the next one to grow. I think it might be based off of, like, civilization level or something. I don't know. But you can see in our capital, for instance, tribesmen are growing right now, whereas other provinces, citizens. And this is one thing I haven't talked about, and since we're just kind of waiting on sieges, I don't mind talking about it now. In the game, there are 4 different types of pops, 4 different levels of pops that provide different things based on how many you have and stuff. Each pop would do one, provides you different things. So, slaves, right, which is going to be, depending on how much conquest you do, is going to be a good chunk of your population. Slaves provide you just tax, right? They just give you base tax for every slave. Tribesmen give you that same amount of tax, normally, I think, as well as manpower, right? So, so they are going to be pretty good. They're going to be somewhat better than slaves. Okay. Ooh, interesting. Carthage gains 50 religious power. Carthage gains Blessing of Baal until 464, so 10 years. Omen power and duration goes up. That's pretty good. We lose money. But our Kahan, which I guess is our religious dude, our priest or whatever, gets loyalty. I will do that, actually. That seems pretty worth it. We have a lot of, I don't know all the names of the titles, but we have different titles that are kind of like your council in CK2, although not as politically important. It's more like they just give you bonuses, and the better they are at their job, the more bonus you get. So like aggressive expansion change. I also haven't talked about these guys at all. Ooh, you know what? We need to talk about this soon. October of next year. All right, remind me in the comments. I'm just kidding. It'll be too late. Okay. So what's really cool is that once we get this fort, you'll see, which hopefully you'll see in a second. Oh, there's their army. Okay, finally they showed up. Where are they going? What you'll see is when we get this fort, which will happen now. Yeah, there we go. It immediately starts to flip the provinces nearby. It's amazing. I love the way the zone of control works in this game. There are some little weird elements, right, like with the movement and everything. But no, not you. But it's still pretty cool in general. Okay. I think I'm actually going to split this army in half and take 2 separate armies over here. One thing we should actually talk about, because it might become relevant soon. Well, I'll wait a second to get into that. So let's keep looking at these pops, meanwhile. Sure, we become friends with someone. I don't think there's really a downside to that until we hit our friend limit. We just split in half. Alright, they're all split up. So, unfortunately, I don't think there's a quick deselect button like there's in EU4. You could just do like V, V, V after you hit every army, and you would just be like sending them all out. And that was nice, but, you know, that's okay. So, you, meanwhile, actually, I don't think, maybe we want to go fight their army. Alright, real quick, let's talk about this before we continue with the pops, sorry. Yeah, we should actually, I think, go after these guys now. Oh, there's the, okay, so we're gonna have to talk about this now anyways, it looks like. So, beyond your troop composition, which will make a difference, right, on different types are good against different types. They have a lot of elephants, that's not good, or maybe it is. No, these guys are not good against elephants. Oh yeah, this might be bad. Beyond this, there are different tactics you can put in place. And different units give different bonuses to the tactic effectiveness. And different ones work well against other tactics, right? It's kind of like a giant game of rock, paper, scissors, except there's like 5 different types. And I think there's more, we just don't, like there's phalanxes as well, if you're Greek culture, stuff like that, right? But, and I don't even know how this long-term, how I'm going to play around with these, but what I do know is that right away it shows you the tactic effectiveness in general, and I think that is normally pretty much what I'm going to rely on until I have a better grasp of how this all works. So, okay, maybe not though, because it seemed like the game was like, no, don't do that. Or maybe it's just doing that naturally. Oh, well, too late. I thought we had more time. Alright, well, looks like we're going to find out one way or another if shock action is good. So you can see now in the battle, right? They have skirmishing, actually. So now if we lose this, we can remember this for our next fight. Okay. 11th of November. Okay. We won that battle, which is good. This is not hills, it's plains. Okay, so they're going to make the... Okay, I think we're actually going to be okay here. So, oh, maybe not. It's a bit of a rough battle. Okay, you can kind of see the lineup here. Seems like we're going to win. I really like it. Seems like there's a good bit of tactical depth in this game, right? It's not a total war game, obviously, but there is some level of depth you can have. For instance, we can actually determine which armies, which types of units are the first ones to go in, and then which ones are going to be like the... which ones are going to be the secondary ones that come in after the first row, and which ones are going to be flanking. So, for instance, we don't have any like this. So, we have primary cohorts as these guys. I feel like our primary cohort should be the elephants, followed by the... And I'm kind of doing this just intuitively, right? Followed by the infantry. And I think flanking, we should actually have our archers, right? We'll see if that works long term. We'll see if those effects work out well for us. So, that's okay. Meanwhile... yeah, let's go back to skirmishing tactic, actually. And yeah. But there certainly is, at least from my experience so far, there is a good amount of depth to the combat, and I really, really appreciate that. That's one of the things I've always been a little disappointed with in EU4, is just, I wish there was more depth, just a little more, even a little more, and this game has a little bit more without being overwhelming. So, it's pretty cool. Let's go and bring you here, you here, you here, you here. I think I'm actually going to take you guys here and start grouping up after that point. Chase down this army. Obviously, we've lost a good bit of manpower, but that's okay. Okay, someone gained dysentery. Lovely. Not lovely. Okay, so... sorry, I stopped talking about how the pops work because I kind of got involved in the thick of the war, you know. But I tell you what, I think this is a good place to end this video. I know, because you can see they just actually took one of our populations as slaves. That is not good. However, we're going to be conquering them back, so. We need more forts, definitely. We'll worry about that when we have a chance. So, I'm going to go wrap this up here. Thank you guys for watching. Again, this is a new series of a new game on the channel, so I would really appreciate the support. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe for more. It really does help the channel a bunch, especially getting this new series and this new game off the ground with a running start. And I would really appreciate it. If you all... enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next episode, where we continue with Imperator Rome in consolidating North Africa. That's Carthage. So I will see you guys then. Goodbye.